I am a big fan of books that have to do with werewolves. And so I picked up the book that we're going to talk about today called When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. I was not prepared at all because this is just not even in the realm of what I thought it would be. I mean, yeah, there's kind of a werewolf, but it's so much more. This follows the story of the main character, Jess, and she is an aspiring actress and she works in a diner. One day, she returns home and life isn't really turned out how she thought it would. She thought she'd probably have a career by now and all that and not be working in a diner. She used to work in fine dining until she got blackballed because she eschewed the advances of a creepy, lecherous manager guy who was a groper. And so he basically like blacklisted her to all the fine dining places. So now she works in a diner and she is not, at the highest point in her life. She gets home and she starts hearing like weird noises outside, like whimpering almost. And she goes outside. She sees these like weird birds that she's never seen in her life that like are kind of large and they're kind of going in and out of this bush, but she also hears what sounds like whimpering coming from the bush. And then she finds a kid there. Talks to the kid, has the kid come inside, and he seems really scared and he says something about his dad being really angry and he's kind of seems very traumatized. So she has him come inside and gives him some pizza because she was eating pizza, shared it with the kid, and then he lays down and she tucks him in on the couch and whatnot and figures, okay, what the F, we'll figure out what to do in the morning. Then she hears like a commotion outside. So, she kind of quietly goes out there and shuts the door behind her. And then she sees the weird neighbor and his girlfriend are outside and they're arguing with some guy, and the guy's like completely naked. He is growing more and more frustrated with the couple, and it seems like they're gonna like fight him and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, the kid is at the sliding door well, like looking out. And then the guy turns and he like sees the boy, and she's like, oh crap. But then the other two are still arguing with him and start to kind of like fight with him. And so she goes back inside. Jess goes back inside with the kid, and they shut the door, and the arguing continues. But then stuff starts to get really weird noises start to happen, and like kind of like cracking and wet sounding, and then almost like a weird howl, like some sort of weird creature, and then the screams start. And the roommate wakes up and she comes out and she has her gun and she's like, what is happening right now? And then someone calls the cops because of the altercation outside with the people there. I forget when Jess actually looks out and sees the destruction and gore and some terrifying creature with almost like a human-like alertness to their eyes, but she couldn't really understand what she was seeing. It seemed like a weird wolf, bear, weird creature that was standing on two legs. The cops come, and but first it seems like this creature went after every person that was like outside, was murdering them very viciously. This is all happening. And then eventually, like, the crap hits the fan and Jess takes off with the kid and they get the F out of Dodge. After that, the dad, which she thinks was the naked guy and thinks is probably dead because of whatever that creature was, she doesn't really put two and two together that, oh, hey, maybe that creature was the dad because that's not reality. People don't turn into man bear pigs or werewolves or whatever and all of that stuff. So they run away. And then she's not sure where to go. She doesn't know what to do. So she's like, okay, I'm going to go over to Margie's. And Margie is this older woman that she works with. Margie is like, I think she's like 58. And she goes over there with the kid and kind of explains sort of what happened. She's like, I don't know. There was a big creature that came. The cops came, this, that, and the other. And so Margie's like, all right, she's like, maybe you want to take my car. They saw you leave with your car. And Margie isn't quite sure how she feels about the situation or what kind of trouble Jess is in because she doesn't quite believe about this weird creature or bear that came there. But then I think later on, like it comes on the news or something. So she's like, oh, you were actually telling me the truth. And she's like, yeah. She's trying to figure out what to do there. The father is coming after the kid and her. He is more than a werewolf because sometimes you're getting these descriptions and they're just like nightmare fuel. Like maybe he has 4 eyes and more than 2 arms, and it's really weird. And there's sometimes other human faces that seem to ripple within the creature he's become. So stuff goes off the rails pretty quickly. And then it turns into like something straight up out of the X-Files. And I think maybe that's why I loved it so much, because there's a lot that has to do with the mind. The kid and the dad, the kid may have some sort of influence of the form the dad is taking, and fear accelerates it. So we'll say that, like, the things he's afraid of somewhat come to life. So the dad is military, and he was part of this, like, Project Albatross, which was, they did like testing on the soldiers, and it was kind of trying to make, I would say, super soldiers. And there was, and so super soldiers, if you ever saw X-Files, you kind of get the gist. But one of the side effects that all the soldiers were supposed to have, that they were never told this, is that they were all supposed to be sterile. But this boy's father ended up not being sterile and having a kid, and then his kid ended up having like these weird abilities, we'll say. And at first, they stayed on the military base and kept an eye on the kid because the guy wasn't supposed to have kids and whatnot, and because the guy was just a normal human before the experimentation and all this. Eventually, though, he decides he doesn't like the military, keeping an eye on the kid and all this stuff. And he kept the kid, like, he didn't let the kid leave the house. He didn't let him watch TV. He wasn't allowed to have any books. He would get mad and, like, enraged a lot. And the kid just, he didn't know what's going on. He's super young. The way the father behaved exacerbated a lot of these abilities that this boy had with his fear-based, I don't want to call it psychic powers, I don't know. Something along those lines. This book is intense. It's an addictive read. At this point in time, Nat Cassidy is a must-read author for me. Is this my favorite one? Oh. I mean, Mary was really good. Nestlings was really good too. I haven't read Rest Stop yet. This might be my favorite Nat Cassidy book. This is probably going to be, and actually, this is going to be definitely my top 10 horror of the year. It is so good. It's kind of a werewolf book. I mean, it is, but at the same time, it isn't. It's so much weirder than that. If you like weird, paranormally, X-Files style werewolf stories, then this book is definitely for you. I love that it went in this weird direction that I had no idea it was going in. That was awesome, and I would highly recommend this if you're a horror fan. Go get it. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.